I was hoping to get your take on a few comedians that you grew up with that obviously had some impact on you. Milton Berle, for example.
Milton Berle, I liked him, but I didn't like him. There were certain things that he did I thought were funny, like dressing up like a rabbit in the 50s on national television. I I sat there as a little kid and I went, I guess that takes balls. I didn't know what balls were, but I said it anyway. No.
What about Danny Kaye?
Danny Kaye, I don't know, in a way he was like Sid Caesar. He was so rapid fire with his delivery. He could do a million different dialects. He sang in other languages and he could also make up stuff. But Danny Kaye was so facile, and I have to tell you that the closest thing to me that I've seen that I've gotten to work with to Danny Kaye is Rob Paulson. He can do that, the countries of the world song that Robbie does. That's like a Danny Kaye kind of routine. And you got to be really good to pull that off.
And he can just pull that out anywhere, anytime.
And he does it. He pulls that routine out for anybody that cares to ask him. He's so cordial.
Okay, what about Lucy?
Lucy, I learned a few things from her. The earmarks were when she was in trouble, and all was lost. She'd either go ah, or she would go, ooh. It's just stuff that made me laugh when I was a kid.
She studied under Buster Keaton.
Yeah, Buster Keaton was one of the three geniuses. Who was it? It was Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Harold Lloyd. And Harold Lloyd was known as the third genius. Go check him out and find out why he was third.
How about the Marx Brothers?
Oh, you know what? They
have a big impact on you?
They did, but not as much as like the Three Stooges. I guess I preferred lowbrow. You had to be pretty swift, pretty quick on the uptake to get everything that Groucho was saying, because it was so funny, and all those things for those Marx Brothers movies were written by the Algonquin Round Table, George S. Kaufman and Dorothy Parker, and these comedic brains, and they were too highbrow for me, but I caught on and I began to really like them.
Jonathan Winters.
Jonathan Winters was, he would make up an act out of nothing. That's the ultimate in fearlessness. That's walking on the ledge. That's like, going through a minefield in a rowboat. He could just take suggestions from the audience and run with it and always get the laugh. He would always pay it off. And he hardly ever missed, well, somebody better laugh or this bit's going to lie in the ditch and die.
So obviously Sid Caesar.
Yes,
that's pretty well known that's a big one with you.
Well, Show of Shows had Sid Caesar, Imogene Coca, and Carl Reiner.
Howard Morris.
Howard Morris was like this. He was like a spider monkey. There's a bit where it's This Is Your Life, and it was Al Duncy, played by Sid Caesar, and he goes to the show, the taping of This Is Your Life, Your Story. And then he finds out by accident, well, not by accident, but just suddenly he was shocked. It was like, it was about him, and he didn't hear it because he was looking at the guy next to him like, that's right, this is your story, Carl Reiner playing the suave host, Al Duncy. And Sid Caesar sitting there and he doesn't get it. He's looking, and then he goes, yes, Al Duncy. And he goes, I'm so sorry for laughing, but every time I think about it, it always makes me laugh.
That's funny. Lastly, the Stooges, obviously, a huge impact.
The Stooges were like saints to me. I quit going to church. That's bona fide. I quit going to church when I discovered the Stooges. I used to fake going to church so I could think about the Stooges and get back to them, but they were on every morning before school. Mo, Larry, and Curly slapping their way through two reelers and poking and punching, and it was used as such a comic device. Those sound effects when you got hit, it was very satisfying because if you slapped somebody in real life or punched them, you don't hear that meat bag, that.
Disappointing.
You don't hear anything. So I was a consultant on the Three Stooges movie for the Farrelly brothers, and I said, that's the whole thing, is that we long for some sort of result other than just like, get out of here. Too bad we can't produce our own sound effects that would go with our actions. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to fight over anything, but sometimes you'd like to go, come here. But there's no, and you know what? I don't think you can get away with poking people's eyes anymore. I think that's a new law in the books in California.
Only in preschool.
No eye pokes.
So all these people definitely collectively had one impact or another on you as a little kid watching all this as it was happening.
Yep, and so did the cartoon voices. I just took in everything that I could because I was going to get yanked away from the source or it would just be gone. Because television, you hardly ever knew when what was on.
Well, and back then, once it went by, that was like it.
That was it.
See that thing again.
Never see it again. I used to see stuff and I used to long for them, knowing that I was never going to be able to look at it or hear it again.